Hi, this is Anand, and I'm going to present about the privacy policies in education. So this slide is about the overview for the whole PPT, which gives a sense of what all are included in the presentation. Basically, the introduction of what basically the sense of privacy policies, and then the policies, literature review, research methodologies, the discussions, then the data collection plan and implementation, then coming to the conclusion and the references. So we get on to the introduction. So traditionally, student data consisted of things like the grades, their attendance, discipline records, and health records. And access to the data used to be restricted to the administrator or some teacher or other school officials who needed to serve the educational needs of the child. With the use of technology in schools, traditional data is now often shared with companies that provide a student information system, which is shortly called SIS. And many of us know about the LMS, which is the learning management system, and many other technologies. Parents, students, and others have raised concerns about what information is being collected or shared and what use those companies might make of that data. New technologies, including personal computers, mobile devices, applications, websites, programs, and online services. Uh, Everything is pretty much used in classrooms these days in a ways that cause the new data to be generated about each individual student that never existed before, including the drafts and edits as they recorded and showing the pace and record of their performance through a math or reading programs. Communications between the students and teachers or student in the other, fellow students, along with everything from their kind of last night's math homework to the metadata of their online behavior while immersed in an app is now created, it is collected and often held by the third party educational technology vendors. So moving to the privacy policies. So the concepts involved in privacy policy in the education system are expectation of privacy and FARPA Act. So basically, a FARPA it's information in a student's education record, which is governed by the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, which is a federal law enacted in 1974, that guarantees that parents have access to their child's education record and restricts who can access and use the student information. So it's basically all about how the information is being used and how it's directly related to a particular student as a part of his or her education. So basically, FAPA gives specific rights to child's education records when a child turns 18. And basically, the rights belong to him or her. Coming to the part of literature review. So, in educational industries, the literature review it summarizes some of the techniques for developing their business through online contractual terms and privacy policies. The field of learning analytic policy is completely a new process that was discussed earlier on academic analytics and kind of data mining concepts. Coming to the research methodology, so the efficient collection, analysis, and storage of students' information are very important for educational industries. Through this, they can effectively able to improve their schools and attract students by customers and providing more security to their personal information. This can be done by developing and implementing some effective privacy policies. So some educational websites generally used to ask the users to register on the website. In that registration form, they only used to ask for some users' basic information like username, email address, and what the user location is. And at the time of registration process, educational websites provide an option to receive any of the additional information to the users. The college websites also recommend the children to get their parents' permission before they're providing any of their personal information to ensure the proper protection and the credential information of the student. This slide is basically about what are to be followed in order to have a proper privacy policy implementation, like having a proper training and awareness of you, I mean, as a student or as a uh, specific person in the industry, how your data is being implemented and what data is being collected, and implementing some strict policies and guidelines, and promoting and evaluating stakeholders, and planning and monitoring what data is being collected and how it is being used as well. Coming to the data collection plan, the data it's for privacy policies in education industries. It is very important where education departments must need to protect the students and staff members' details confidentiality. They must not share this information with others who are in the same field. Generally, on the internet, there are a lot of data collection plans are developed, and yep, many researches have been conducted in order for this in the education industries, and everything says the same. So uh, generally at time of developing privacy policies, they need to follow some standardized concepts which are useful for protecting the students information and their health details. They must need to provide a clear explanation for the students and their parents at the time when they used to share the student information with other educational websites. Yeah, and basically this information will be collected in two ways. It's either a one-to-one interviews or by a direct observation of a student. So it's always better to be safe, and this gives us the framework for effective education policy implementation. So basically, it says about the designing how designing a smart policy that is justified, feasible, and adapted to the context. Then engaging everyone in the policy process so that everybody will be having an equal idea and everybody is aware of what is going on. And then ensuring a conducive context for policy, uh, then developing and pursuing the coherent implementation strategies. So I would like to conclude saying the department it always uses privacy policies, especially for protecting the personal data, and defines how the personal data engages with multiple business areas within the department. Implementation of security strategies is important for the educational industries, where they can effectively develop and implement some of the privacy policies in education. Thank you.